G'day people, I'm Sharyn. Welcome to my channel. The reversible Quilt As You Go quilt is not finished, but it's far enough along that I can show you a lot more about it now. I really love the front of it. Or is it the back? It actually is just as nice on each side. See, this side is the back. Or is it the front? It'd be really easy to be changing the entire decor of your room just by flipping this quilt over, wouldn't it? Some of the things about this method of Quilt As You Go that it pays to think about are things like, because this cream sashing is the same colour as one of the colours that I've got here, it enlarges those blocks, makes the cream ones look bigger than the blue ones. In fact, the blue ones sort of look like they're floating on a sea of cream. Because the sashing contrasts with both the colours on this side, the purple and the blue squares all look the same size. Could have been a different colour though, and still had that contrast, but it really looks different to the other side, much brighter in this case, and yeah, very striking. The cream side is the side where I put the tape on first, and I matched my thread to the cream fabric, and there are 2 rows of stitching on either side of that tape, but you have to be looking fairly closely and you have to be up close in order to see it. Most people, especially those who don't sew, will never look at anything that closely and will never notice it. This is the side I did first, and I'm not even sure which of these lines is the right line that I did first, but they're very close to, they've pretty much ended up exactly on top of each other. Here they're a little way apart, but that's not very far apart. It's less than 1/8 of an inch. And because the thread matches the fabric, as soon as you get away from that a little bit, nobody's going to see it anyway. So the side that you are least wanting for things to be seen, do that one first. But it really doesn't matter that much. It's not that important. What people are going to look at is the overall of your quilt, not picking up that stitches were not exactly on top of each other. This side of the quilt is the side where I put the tape down second, and there is a single row of stitching on either side. It's still not going to be perfect because fabric moves. If you do things with a contrasting thread, when it moves and it's not completely accurate, it's more obvious. If the inaccuracies worry you, always make sure you stitch with a matching thread. Contrasting threads are really going to show up any mistakes. This is the right side, the second side that I've sewn on, and you can see here where that line of stitching is. And you've got to remember, sewing, we are not sewing metal. It moves. It's something that shifts, and you're not going to be perfect. Nobody is going to be perfect when they do this stuff. So that is pretty good, but there's a little bit here where the fabric, move that over, where the fabric moved a bit. It's not going to be perfect. Of course, if I'd done that sewing with a thread that was contrasting, yes, you will notice it, and then you definitely would want to make sure at least one of those threads matched the fabric. I could just as easily have chosen a different colour to use for that tape, and that would have made the entire quilt look different. How different do you think this would have looked if I'd used a yellow? Yellows and purples go really nicely together. Certainly would have looked completely different to how it looks at the moment. I haven't completely decided what I'm going to do with the borders on this quilt. Probably something in cream for this side. And on this side, probably something with the splatter blue. I think the binding needs to be cream. And if you're having trouble believing that it really is two sides of the same quilt, there it is. Both sides. It really is reversible. This quilt has opened up whole reams of new ideas for me. I can imagine doing a quilt for a child and making it a rainbow effect across one side, and maybe the other side is checkerboard. There are just so many things that you could do. Placing squares of different colours in different places, but you will have to think about it beforehand so that what gets you the right thing on one side gets you the right thing on the other side as well. It's fun. Playing with these things is just so much fun. And honestly, if you've made a lot of quilts that are all fairly similar, maybe this is a way for you to do something really quite interesting. And like I say, turn it over and completely change the decor of your room. I hope you've had fun with this like I have been. See you next time.